The roll, please.
Kenny. Belkey.
Here.
Belzak.
Here.
Shower.
Here.
McIver.
Here.
Marquez.
Here.
Clistic. 5 present and 2 absent.
We have a quorum. The next item is questions, comments, and announcements of a general nature. This is typical for us to open this to the floor if anyone in the audience has any questions, comments of a general nature. But if the council feels that they have questions on anything that's on the agenda this evening, I guess we could entertain that now. Does anybody have, then we'll hold off on that, and let's move to the next item, which is the approval of the minutes of September 5th. Do I have a motion to approve? Alderman Belkey, seconded by Alderman McIver. Any additions or deletions for the clerk? And the roll, please. Is it me breathing into it? I don't know.
Belkey.
Aye.
McIver.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Marquez.
Abstain.
Belzak.
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 abstention, and 2 absent.
The minutes have been approved. The next item is receiving of communications. Alderman Marquez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Later this afternoon, I received a phone call from Mr. Jim Sims. Jim reported to me that today he had a solicitor come to his house, identified as a solicitor with a badge from the city, representing a company called Direct Energy. The woman told Jim that she was there to tell him that while Commonwealth Edison will be transmitting the power, Direct Energy would be responsible for supplying the power. Jim had, and that a letter had gone out from Direct Energy a month ago to Darien residents informing them of this. She said she was working with the city, or the city was working with Direct Energy in this regard. She also mentioned that they were going to bundle the electric with the gas, and she went in the back of his house and she checked his gas meter, and she got his account information for both his electric as well as his gas. And he indicated to her that he had no desire to sign any agreement with her. As time passed, he felt that she was really scamming him on this. He called Lisa Clem, and Lisa indicated to him that it was not exactly Direct Energy, but it's Direct Marketing. Direct Marketing is marketing, I guess, for Direct Energy. And Jim's concern now is that they have his ComEd account number, and they have his NICOR account number. And he said, you know, the city should know this, other people should know this, so that if this woman's going from house to house selling people on the idea that she's working with the city to provide a service and they're going to bundle their energy services, that it's kind of a scam. It's not really something that he felt was legitimate. So I brought this up with the mayor and Mr. Vanna today, and I guess Lisa talked to you, Brian. And but this was the only case we had heard about, from what I understand.
So far.
Well, of that, of that aggressive nature, I have talked to people periodically. You know, we're in that transition period. We're really over that, where aggregation ended, and the community for electric service is back onto the ComEd plan, and we've told residents about that through Direct Connect, and ComEd sent letters.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in terms of sales people going to houses trying to sell electric, and then maybe combine it with gas, residents will probably see more of those. If they don't want if a resident doesn't want the solicitors to their house, just contact the city. We can give a sticker that says no solicitors, and the solicitors are not allowed to go to that house. And just don't give out the information. You know, we're trying to let residents know that. And if you have especially elderly neighbors, talk to them and tell them they don't need to answer the door and they don't need to give any information. And if somebody's too aggressive, they don't feel comfortable, the resident should always call 911, and the police could be there to check it out, because we do need to check for IDs or permits that were issued by the city. You know, soliciting door to door is permitted but we do have restrictions and we have rules. And the first rule is they need a permit. So not everybody in town gets a permit before they go door to door. So we always encourage people to call 911. We will check that. If they don't have a permit issued, we have given them tickets in the past. And residents do need to be careful. It's really the same on the phone solicitation. I think these companies also will call people, and you don't know if that's a company or who that might be. But I think the concern is too, once you give out your account number, that companies could take that account number and automatically put you through to the particular company they're representing,
Right, that's his concern.
and that's his concern. Yep.
Because Lisa gave him a telephone number to call to deal
Yep.
directly with direct energy or direct marketing. And he called, and as I told you earlier, he got the voicemail of a guy who has so many voicemails that you can't even leave a voicemail. And so his concern is now that they're going to do exactly what you said.
I don't know, what do they call it, slamming it? I think that's called slamming, when they
I
move
believe-
your accounts without your permission.
Yeah, and in this case, again, never let anybody in your backyard. There's no reason that a salesperson would need to go in your backyard for anything. And, again, just say no, and if they're too aggressive, won't leave 911, and the police will take care of that.
Okay.
Well, and what's really troubling about it, she's misrepresenting
Right.
the story, because we are not dealing with direct energy.
Right.
When we did the aggregation program, we discovered ComEd had the best rate for us, and we moved all of our residents back to ComEd. So direct energy is not one of our providers now.
The only thing I guess we could do for our residents is just inform them, as we've had tonight, that if somebody like this comes to their house, all they need to do is just say no.
Well, definitely say no, but if you'd be wise to get the no solicitor sticker for your door, because that allows us, if they come to your door to sell you something, it allows us to give them a ticket for doing that.
Okay.
So that would be one of our ways to
Yeah, he was
give them a
feeling pretty
message.
foolish about it. He's a pretty bright guy, and he just felt like he let his guard down on this one.
So do we still have those readily available, the stickers? Because I thought for a while we were kind of down on them, and, nope, we
We
still have
have
that?
them, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
That's all.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you. Any other communications?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I circulated another resident's concern regarding high traffic speeds along Manning Road, and concerns with more homes and more traffic and higher speeds. And, I know that the chief responded, and the gentleman who contacted us did send some subsequent
Did he respond
correspondence.
with
Yeah, he's-
with times of day and
like,
things?
yeah, there's kind of a string of them.
I haven't seen that email
yeah,
yet.
Yeah, there's a few, so hopefully we can, but this has been an ongoing concern for quite a few residents up and down Manning, and especially with Elizabeth Ide School being there as well, so. Trying to find the right way to slow people down.
Address it, yes. And we've learned putting up stop signs is not the answer. We've learned that people speed up between stop signs because they feel that the stop sign has slowed them down. So, yes, we have to come up with some other solutions. Communications,
I
Alderman
don't
Belke?
have a communication per se, but I wanted to know if anybody got feedback on the Darien Fest, because I'm in the ward, and for the first year, I never got a complaint.
Well, Alderman Clistic, in responding to Brian today that he would not be able to be here, he said he got lots of good comments from residents in Ward 4. So that's
Yeah, I've
yeah.
heard.
The chamber had a follow-up meeting last Thursday. I talked to James Burke, and he said the chamber was very happy with the turnout. They were very happy with the vendors and the help they got from the various organizations. The only thing that they would take a serious look at is moving the business expos to a better location, because a lot of the business expo people felt no one was going over there because it was separated.
Well, the reason why they put it over there was Mr. Burke himself said that they should put up a tent with cameras or with televisions, and there'll be throngs of people over there. And guess what? There weren't throngs of people, so nobody went over to the business expo.
Mr. Burke said that next year he'd like to put the TV tent right next to
Yeah, and maybe he shouldn't make any suggestions. I don't know. I don't know what's best. Okay.
Can I ask, Chief, did you hear, was there any incidents at the park for Darien Fest? I thought I
Nothing
got
of
wind
note.
of one, but it didn't materialize in
Yeah,
anything.
I was
Street
speaking
one.
to Saturday night,
Yes.
the kids on the
Couple
the
kids.
the
Chase 'em around
basketball
every once in a
court,
while.
they can get rowdy, so I think the officers had to deal with that, but I think that was it.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Very calm.
well, any other communications? I received a letter from John Igliston. He lives on 79th Street. It's a wonderful letter that he wrote to me regarding a job well done by the city of Darien with the 79th Street resurfacing project, and his kudos to Dan Gombeck and Diane Novarini for their help in assisting him replace his driveway, sidewalk, apron, and curb fronting his property. So he was very happy. So I'd like to present that for the record and make sure that Mr. Gombeck gets a copy of that so we can let the guys know. The kudos to the guys. If there's no other communications, let's move on to the mayor's report. And it gives me a great deal of pleasure tonight to honor one of our very special organizations and members of our community who are celebrating a very special month of October. And I'd like to read the proclamation for Filipino American History Month. Whereas Filipino Americans make up one of the largest Asian American ethnic groups in the United States, and whereas Filipino Americans have contributed greatly to the economic, intellectual, spiritual, social, cultural, and political vitality of the United States, and whereas the trustees of the Filipino American National Historical Society established Filipino American History Month and promoted it in observance annually and nationally throughout the United States and its territories during the month of October, and whereas the celebration of Filipino American History Month provides an opportunity to celebrate the heritage and culture of Filipino Americans and their immense contributions to our country. Now therefore, I, Kathleen Weaver, Mayor of the City of Darien, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2017 as Filipino American History Month and urge all residents to celebrate the heritage and culture of Filipino Americans and their immense contribution to our country. And with that, I know that I have Ruben and Merle Salazar, and I think Pax Ravina is here too. And would you like to come up to receive this? Do you have a cameraman with you to take a picture? Okay, well, let's do it. Ruben, should we all go up front here?
Okay. I guess we've been doing this for many years, so
So
we know the drill.
We know the drill. And then you can come back and say a few words if you'd like to.
Thank you very much.
Hello. Hi. Come on back here. Bill, you gonna take the pictures? Yes. Okay. Okay, so you two guys get in the middle here, because I'm gonna give it to you. To you, two guys, okay? Where's Jose and, Oh, is he? Okay. Well, tell him we missed him. Did you guys want to say a few words?
He's the vice
Come
president.
on up to the microphone.
He's the representative of Jose Solano.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Filipino American Association of South DuPage, it's really a great honor for us to be recognized yearly, especially the city of Darien and Mayor Kathleen Weaver. And we would like to continue this opportunity yearly so we can spread to be an example of other countries that, as a Filipino, we want really to expose our culture and activities, and we want other Asian nation, not only Asian but European and all other countries, to be part of this History Month. So thank you again for the recognition, and good luck to City of Darien and its staff and committees. Thank you so much.
Do you have an event coming up in the month of October? Is it at the library again?
We're going to hold it again at the Indian Prairie Library.
And what is the event?
Do we have Ruben, we're gonna continue to explain what will be our agenda for this year.
Okay.
Yes, just like in previous year, we do film showing at the Darien Library. You're all invited. The film is Amigo, which is the story of Filipino Americans in the Philippines back in 1898 when we first got colonized by the United States. So we would like to invite you, and we'll put out a posting at the library to invite library subscribers as well to watch the movie with us.
Well,
That's
Ruben,
October 28th.
Yeah, Ruben,
At
why
2
don't
p.m..
why don't you get us the information so we can put it on our website and, you know, get it out that way too?
Wonderful.
Okay.
We will do.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Box, okay, thanks, Box. Okay, let's move to the city clerk's report.
No report this evening, Madam Mayor.
Okay, city administrator,
No report, Mayor.
department head reports.
No report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, chief?
It's been submitted, so you have it available. I do have one follow-up item from last meeting where we were looking at the intergovernmental agreement. I checked with the ETSB in DuPage. They've gotten 23 IGA so far out of 34, so they're well on the way to getting them all done.
Okay,
And they expect them all to be finished.
okay.
So if there's any questions on the monthly report or anything, I'll answer those.
The monthly report is not in the packet, but it was added to our website. It was available today in final form, so if you have any
Yeah,
questions.
I just received it today, so I have not had a chance to look at it, so unfortunately, I don't have any questions for you tonight. Or fortunately, I don't know which. Do any of the aldermen have questions for either Dan or Greg?
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Forgive me for being late. Mr. Kamiak, I got a call over the weekend regarding, and I was going to call you on the weekend, an Alderman McIver's ward on Manning at Brunswick, right by the Rolling Knolls. Looks like there's a crosswalk on the south side of Brunswick. I guess it's right, it's just like probably about 20 feet, just east of Cottage. They want to know if they're going to paint lines for an actual crosswalk, or that's just going to be the curb cut on the south side or the curb cut on the north side.
Just a curb cut, there's no designated crosswalk.
Okay. Any reason behind why?
There's,
Because I know I'm going to get that question asked.
well, once you put a crosswalk in there, a crosswalk has different types of parameters it has to follow, and in that case, it'd be considered a mid-block crosswalk as well. So there'd have to be some type of study completed in order to make sure that the justification for the markings are adequate, along with any additional signage.
Okay, I'll have the resident call you.
And the sidewalk on the Rolling Knolls side of the street of Manning does not extend all the way to the school anyway.
Correct.
So there wouldn't be a purpose for children crossing to walk all the way to the school, which is probably the most logical use of the sidewalk.
And I know we talked about that exact issue when this was first going in, and I just, thought I'd just bring it up here tonight.
Any other questions for the department heads, for Dan and Chief Thomas? All right, then let's move on to the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This evening, I'm requesting council's approval of warrant number 171810 in the amount of $615,435.52 from the listed funds and payroll for the period ended September 14th in the amount of $263,806.65 for a total to be approved of $879,242.17.
Do I have a motion to approve? Alderman Belzak, seconded by Alderman Trower. Any questions for him? Yeah.
The material that we have in front of us, it looks like there's a fraudulent charge by monkey.com and then also a disputed charge. So is somebody hacking into our account or anything?
No, actually, the one from the Monkey Survey, we had an agreement with them, I believe, a year ago, and they charged us an error to renew our annual agreement. So they have since said they're going to credit that, so that will come off the next bill. So that was not a hacking, that particular one was not a hacking into the account, although we have had those in the past, and we've had to put a fraud alert out, and then they get rid of the card and they'll send a new one out to the whoever was hacked.
And then the Amazon Prime just decided to charge as well.
Yeah, that was an account that was, Paul, while he was here, had an account set up for him personally, but we also had an Amazon account, and he had ordered something, and it hit our credit card account, which has since been canceled. So he had, when I talked to him about that, he reimbursed us, so we went ahead and paid that payment.
Thank you.
I have questions on page 7, the King Car Wash. There was a number of charges on page 7 for King Car Wash. And my question is that each of the items are not identified by month. So the only one that was identified was the last entry for $210 for the month of August, but the other 3 did not identify.
The 210 is our typical monthly charge for our regular car washings at their discounted rate of about $7.50. The other 3 were for details of, there were two of them are for details of 6 different vehicles, and one was for detail of 5 vehicles. So a total of 17 vehicles were detailed. Listed rate was $179. They discounted it to $129 per vehicle for an inside-out detail.
How much per car?
About $129 per vehicle after their discount.
How often do they get detailed?
It's the first time I've seen it in quite a while. Chief, do you have
Yeah, it's
any?
probably every other year or so.
Every year?
Every other year or
Every
so.
other year, okay. Okay, thanks. You knew that was coming. You
No,
were
I-
so prepared for
I
that
look
one.
at these things when I pay them, believe it or not. I have the same questions.
Any other questions for the treasurer? Then the roll, please.
Belzak.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
McIver.
Aye.
Belkey.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Marquez.
Aye.
6 ayes and 1 absent.
The warrant has been approved. Next item is standing committee reports. Do the chairman have reports? Alderman Marquez?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is just to let the council know that the Municipal Services Committee will be meeting next Monday, September 25th at 6:30 here in the council chambers.
Alderman Shower?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Our next Admin Finance meeting will be held on Monday, October 2nd, 2017, at 6 p.m. in our upstairs meeting room.
And Alderman McIver?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The next meeting of the Darien Police Committee is scheduled for Monday, October 16th at 6 p.m. in the Police Department Training Room, pending agenda items.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's move on to questions and comments, agenda-related. And since we don't have an agenda, I guess you might not have any questions? Okay. Or any questioners in the audience, yes. Okay, and their next item is old business. There being no old business, I'll move to consent agenda, which does not have any items, and move to new business, which does not have any items. So I'd like to move right to the final item is questions, comments, and announcements by the council. Alderman Marquez?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Saturday, I had an opportunity to attend the Darien Historical Society Cemetery Walk at the Old St. John Cemetery. And while there, I saw Dean Rodkin, who's president of the Historical Society, and she asked me to tell Mr. Gombeck and his staff that they are extremely appreciative of the work that was done with the new sidewalk and with the sod and with some additional plantings. And her comment was, the building is smiling. It looks so good. And so she's very grateful because she said you guys went above and beyond in terms of sodding it and the sidewalk.
Making
So
it look good.
kudos to you, Dan, and your staff.
Thank you. Pass that on. That's our motto, above and beyond.
That's your
Must be a
motto
new
above
one.
what?
Is that a new
what is-
motto?
wait, it sounds like an Air Force pilot or something, you know? Alderman McIver?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know who to address this to, but I'll mention it to Dan. I was in the Darien Point shopping center over the weekend, and I was leaving to get onto Plainfield from Starbucks, admittedly, and I noticed that one of the
Light poles
light
is
poles
bad.
is on a pretty good angle.
Yep.
So I didn't know if you were.
Did somebody hit it?
Semi, we think it's a semi that hit it, so Mark is aware of it, and they're gonna try to straighten it out. It's not gonna fall down. It'd be impossible for it to fall down.
Yeah, I just
But,
noticed
yeah,
it was.
it's not, it's out of
I
plumb
didn't even
right
notice it.
now.
I drove by
It's
there
one of the
today.
short ones that's like
Oh.
right as you're exiting. And then the second item, with the Equifax data breach, I know I received something from my husband's workplace that provided a link that people can go to for Equifax to check to see if they were affected, and then you can sign up for that. You get free monitoring service, and I'm wondering if it might be a good idea to include that in our next Direct Connect as a service to our residents.
We could easily, advertise that.
Yeah.
I know my bank, BMO Harris, when I asked the question, they have a handout already ready
Yeah.
with the Equifax website address.
Yeah, so I'll forward that, I guess, to Brian,
send it
and
to
it comes with the link and everything, so you can
Perfect.
probably just duplicate it and.
Isn't that how it got started, was by a link that made it look like people needed to click on it to check their score?
Well, this one came from a reliable source, I'll just say that.
There is a way of going in there. 'cause
Yeah.
A lot of the scams do
We've done
happen
Yeah,
though by
yeah.
links.
Yeah, but this
I'm not sure what it
particular
is.
So
source
maybe
of
a
this
screen or
comes
something.
from, or provide information, maybe to help residents to navigate through that. I think it might be helpful.
Okay.
I found the link on Channel 7's website, so then I put it on my business page.
Yeah.
All right. If there's no other questions, comments, I'd like to have a motion to resume. Do I ask for a motion to adjourn it back into executive session?
No, because you took a recess, you're just going to.
Okay, so we're just, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn from city council. Alderman McIver, second of Alderman Elke. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Turning the microphones off.
Go ahead, Ted.
So would you unplug me, please?
Oh, you've got a couple things to sign, Kathy.
Oh, yes.